Hi guys, this is Victorya Tries, and today we are going to try
draw with makeup. So I had some makeup left over, most of them being vibrant colors that I've loved, but you know what, I just know that I won't fully use every single item. So I thought, you know what, we can use these items and try to draw with it. So what we mainly have are eye makeup. So there's some eyeshadows, eyeliners, and there's just one or two blushes and lip liners. So the first thing I'm going to try here is test the makeup out on a blank sheet of paper. I thought it would be a good idea to try this because makeup applies differently on your skin compared to when applied on paper. So here what I'm trying to see is firstly how the pigmentation turns out, secondly how it kind of spreads, and also finally what the consistency is like, because I think that's really important when trying to draw with a different medium. So the four eyeshadows I tried are all from Colourpop, and on the skin they're really creamy, but as you can see on this piece of paper, it's not the same creamy consistency on paper. Here I tried to mix it with a bit of water, and I thought it would make the color more vibrant, but that didn't really happen. It just made the paper really wet. So moving on to some powder eyeshadows. They're mainly from a eyeshadow palette that I had from a while ago. So I had to scratch the surface on the products to really bring the pigmentation out. But when I did that, the colors were still super pretty. Like, I really love the color of the blush. It's this really gorgeous pink. Yeah. Moving on to eyeliners. So these are also from Colourpop. They are a pencil, but a kind of like a creamy crayon-y pencil. So I just tried them out. They tend to break quite easily, so I don't think I'm going to use them for large areas. I might use them for some finishing touches. Now that I've tried the makeup out on a piece of paper and found out what they feel like and how they kind of apply, I decided to draw a 7cm by 9cm box, just because I found that the eyeshadow was quite difficult to apply over large areas. So I thought, you know what, I'll just start with a really small box and spread the eyeliner out. I decided to use post-it notes to allow me to get a clean edge, and I think you really do need to have this kind of edge because the eyeshadow is great for smudging, but it's not very easy to create a clean, sharp line. So the post-it notes allow you to make that sharp line. So after looking at the different colors, I thought, as I said before, the blush was super pretty. So I wanted to create this kind of sky, a dusk evening sky, and I thought the pink would be a really nice underlay, a transition color. So I'm gonna apply it broadly to the top half of the paper, just because I think it would be really nice to show this rosy color underlaid from underneath from all the other colors. Then I applied a bit of the purple as a gradient. It was actually kind of hard to spread this creamy consistency on paper. It spread really well on your skin, but I guess the texture of the paper made it that it's harder to spread. So yeah, I'm going to spend a bit of time spreading the colour. Moving on to the darkest purple, this colour was quite overpowering, so I didn't apply very much of it, but it does create a really nice gradient from the light purple and pinkish colours and really set the mood of this kind of night sky. Here I'm just applying a bit more of the lighter purple because I just thought, you know, I could blend it in a bit better. And just a little bit more blush. As you can see, most of this is just experimenting, as opposed to me directly knowing what I wanted to do. So now just applying some brown eyeshadow at the bottom, so it kind of looks like the ground, and you know, basically making the rectangle seem like a gradient from the sky to the ground. I thought I might add a pop of blue at the top just to spice it up a little bit. I didn't want to add too much of that blue because I found that when I tested it out, that blue was really overpowering. And honestly, that's like a huge testament to like ColourPop eyeshadow, right? Because when I did use that blue eyeshadow on my own eyes, they were like vibrant AF. So the same thing, when you apply it on the paper, it was really vibrant. Yeah, there I kind of tried to apply some yellow eyeliner, it didn't really work, so I scraped it off with my nails. So here I'm trying to get inspiration to find, you know, what I might want to draw on top of this background. I ended up landing on something quite simple. I used some pictures as a guide. I didn't want to spend too much time on like just picking the foreground. I ended up deciding on drawing a tree. Ideally I would have used eyeliner to draw the trunk of the tree, but I didn't have any eyeliner I didn't want, so I just made do with a permanent marker. I tried to draw as little as possible with the permanent marker whilst making the tree kind of still look like a tree, just because this video is focused on, well, drawing with makeup. Yeah, so then I just started using the green eyeliner to draw some leaves on. Because of the creamier consistency of the eyeliner, it made it easier to apply the green on the eyeshadow just because of the texture of it. Yeah, here I was trying to, again, experimenting, see if I can do some blue stripes, like kind of looking like wind. Didn't really work out. The blue was just either quite overpowering or just didn't look nice. So I just ended up adding some red dots for like flowers or something. Yeah, then you just peel off the sticky notes and you have a very crisp, sharp edge. And that's the first drawing done. This is actually probably a very conservative drawing in which I didn't experiment with the makeup that much. You know, I knew eyeshadows blended well, I knew which colors kind of went nicely together, so this second time I'm going to draw another thing, but this time, you know, try be a bit more risky with my drawing choices. And so to start being risky, I decided to use some of the darkest colors. I just thought I might just plop them on and see how it kind of blends out together. Just a little bit of each eyeshadow color and see how it turns out. Now, what comes next, I did not expect either. I blended a little bit out of the purple, and then I tried to blend the blue in, and all I could see was the blue. So the blue was just so much more pigmented than the purple that I was like, you know what, this doesn't look very nice. And then I accidentally swiped this blob of blue eyeshadow, and it was just so pigmented. I was like, this is insane, but this looks so good, so I'm going to try apply it on more parts of this square. And I thought the really dark pigmentation looked really great, but I didn't want everything to be dark, so I kind of kept a corner quite light. I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point in time, but I thought it would be a really nice focal point. So I decided to apply that pretty rosy blush on that area, just so that the picture looks not that symmetrical. I found that if I patted the powder eyeshadow over the creamy eyeshadow, then the creamy eyeshadow didn't smudge its color. So again, you know what, this is all for fun, so just experiment and just have fun, really. Yeah, the patting motion of the creamy eyeshadow didn't work. So here I'm just gathering together all the bits and pieces of the eyeshadow. They're like kind of lumps there. And I originally wanted to stick them down with glue, but I didn't actually have glue, nor did I think the lumps would actually stick properly. So I ended up just creating like a line that is a different direction to the rest of the image, and that just creates some textural interest in the whatever this is, abstract drawing. So I peeled off the edges and I thought, you know what, this is interesting in terms of texture, but honestly it's quite boring. So I thought I might play with lines and see how the eyeshadow can create some interesting lines. So here I just, wanted one sharp edge and one feathered edge, and just really drag the eyeliner out. And when you peel it away, it's quite interesting looking. So I'm gonna do it on the other sides in a different color. I think it'll be a lot harder to achieve this kind of texture without using eye makeup, to be honest. You kind of need this powdery form for this kind of image. I just spilt some water, so I just tidied it up. Yeah, so as I was saying, eye makeup creates a really interesting texture to whatever you're drawing, and I think it's really nice to have less control and just play with the texture and the shapes and just go back to basics, really. So again, like, I didn't want everything to be symmetrical, so I thought, you know what, like there's some pink on the edges, on the corner I mean, and so I just spread the pink out towards the corner as well. And to be honest, I didn't clean my finger that much on this side, because I thought it might look a bit more interesting if there was a mixture of other colors as well. Now, this looks fine as is, but I thought I might, you know, use the eyeliners and lip liner a bit more. But for me to do that, I didn't want any edges to really smudge. So this is where I used my marker again and just kind of made a box around the central box, because if it did smudge, I didn't want it to be very obvious, and this dark box around it makes it, you know, it seals the size in a little bit, but more importantly, if it did smudge a tad, you wouldn't be able to see it against this dark border. And then I started drawing some patterns using the eyeliner. I love doodling and just drawing patterns, and so this was very natural to me, drawing like this. This eyeliner was very difficult to handle though, because it's such a soft, creamy texture. It just broke really easily, so I actually had to like hold it very vertically and make sure I didn't put too much pressure on it, because it did end up kind of breaking a little bit. And same with the green. I had to be really careful when drawing, because if I was too, like if I put too much pressure on, the top bit would just break off. And then just gonna add some yellow dots just to tie everything together. So this is the finished product. I think I really enjoyed this. This definitely isn't, you know, super like realism or any sort of like try draw real life drawing. But I think it was really interesting to play around with the texture, to play around with the different style of blending. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy this video, please subscribe, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video.